Hello and welcome. My name is Sam and I'll be your guide into a peaceful evening. Let's embark on a gentle journey to unwind your mind. The title is Chapter 1, The Joyful Gathering. Where do you find yourself tonight? Perhaps you're settling in after a long day, ready to drift into stillness. Let's savor this peaceful moment together. As the sun dipped gently below the horizon, Daniel stepped into the serene garden. The sweet scent of blooming jasmine lingered in the air, mingling lightly with soothing hints of lavender. A soft warmth enveloped the evening, inviting a sense of quiet celebration. Twinkling string lights hung from the trees above, casting a soft, golden glow over the garden. Daniel adjusted the table settings, placing delicate flower arrangements at each setting. He made sure the napkins were neatly folded, each adorned with a small, white flower. "That's perfect," he thought, smiling at the finished look. Each detail sparkled with careful thought, reflecting the joy that filled this moment. Guests began to arrive one by one. First came Emily's best friend, Sarah, running up the path with excitement. "Daniel, is the party ready?" she asked breathlessly. He nodded, pleased at her enthusiasm. "Just putting the last touches on it. Emily will love this." Then more familiar faces arrived. Family members embraced Daniel warmly, exchanging laughter and hugs. His brother Tom appeared, bringing a cooler filled with drinks. "I hope you got enough ice, little brother," he joked, clapping Daniel on the shoulder. Daniel chuckled, sharing in the camaraderie. As the garden filled with laughter and chatter, Daniel's gaze shifted to the entrance. He watched old friends and relatives greet each other. The sounds of happy voices reminded him of other gatherings from years past. Warm memories swept over him like a gentle wave. He remembered Emily as a little girl, running through this very garden. She chased butterflies among the flowers, a joyful smile on her face. "Where's my princess?" he would call out. She would giggle, dodging behind a bush, bubbling with laughter. In those moments, time felt infinite and magical. Daniel shook his head softly, brushing away the tender memories. He snapped back to the present, focusing on the guests chatting and enjoying the warm evening. Then, the sound of a car door closed nearby. He turned and saw Emily arrive, wrapped in a beautiful dress. Glowing with happiness, her radiance lit up the whole garden. As she stepped out of the car, her fiancé Mark gently held her hand. Daniel's heart swelled with emotion, a warm blend of joy and nostalgia flooding over him. How swiftly time had passed, bringing him to this quietly magical moment. Emily had grown up before his eyes, and he felt a bittersweet mixture of pride and longing. "Yes, I'm ready for this," he whispered to himself, finding comfort in the joyful atmosphere. The evening was all about celebrating love, and he couldn't wait to see Emily shine. Guests moved around the garden, greeting Emily and Mark with warmth. Floral arrangements, carefully chosen, surrounded them. Daniel watched as faces lit up with smiles and laughter. Each greeting echoed the love that surrounded the couple. It filled the space like an embrace. As Daniel mingled, he caught snippets of conversations. Friends reminiscing about college days filled the air. He thought of how quickly time flew by, manifesting in new gatherings and family milestones. Time seemed to vanish, and the sun dipped lower, fading into shades of orange and purple. Glimmers of fairy lights twinkled above, enhancing the magical ambience. Daniel felt an overwhelming wave of gratitude wash over him. Seeing so many loved ones together resonated deeply within his heart. Then came his sister Judith, rushing towards him. "I brought the cake. You won't believe how beautiful it is," she exclaimed, eyes sparkling. Daniel followed her to the picnic area, where she unveiled a stunning two-tiered cake. It stood majestic amongst the decorations, elegantly adorned with flowers that matched the table centerpieces. "Wow, that's beautiful, Judith," he said softly, a warm smile spreading across his face. The gentle scent of vanilla lingered in the air, drawing quiet admiration as the evening unfolded in quiet delight. As the evening progressed, Daniel returned to his memories of Emily. Each laugh surrounding him reminded him of her childhood antics. There was the time she dressed as a princess for Halloween and insisted on wearing her tiara even at the dinner table. That silly moment flooded his mind, bringing a tender smile to his face. A soft breeze rustled the leaves above, carrying laughter. Guests began to gather around the cake table. Daniel watched curiously as Emily prepared to make her speech. The garden, now softly glowing with love and laughter, felt timeless. Daniel closed his eyes for a moment, letting the warmth of gratitude carry him into a serene reverie. He positioned himself closely, wanting to savor every moment. Emily held a glass and cleared her throat. She looked radiant, confidence radiating from her. "Thank you all for being here," she began, her voice warm and inviting. Daniel felt a swell of pride listening to her. "I can't believe how lucky I am to have all of you in my life," she continued. "Papa, thank you for making this beautiful garden shine tonight." She raised her glass toward him, and he felt a warmth spread through him. Tears welled in his eyes. As her speech went on, she spoke of childhood memories shared with friends, recalling the laughter, the tears, and the lessons learned. Each word tugged at Daniel's heartstrings, bringing forth memories of nurturing her through every stage of her life. He leaned back against a tree, watching with reverence. How extraordinary it was to witness the journey of a beautiful bond. He remembered standing by her side as she took her first steps, and now, watching her step into this new adventure of love. Finally, Emily raised her glass high. To love, laughter, and the beautiful journey ahead. Cheers erupted from the crowd. Daniel's heart swelled as he joined in the toast. The warmth of family and friends enveloped them like a blanket. After the toast, the group dispersed, mingling around the garden. Daniel snagged a moment to steal away and peek at the photo albums nearby. Each page turned revealed snippets of memories. There was Emily's first day of school, her graduation, and beloved family vacations highlighted with laughter. Each moment told a story, encapsulating the pulse of their lives together. He held the album closely, drinking in nostalgia. "Hey, Daniel," called Sarah, pulling him from his thoughts. "Join us for a dance." She waved him over enthusiastically. Smiling, he set the album aside and followed her back into the warmth of company. The garden transformed as the music played softly through hidden speakers. Couples swayed under twinkling lights, joyous and carefree. He caught a glimpse of Mark spinning Emily around, her laughter ringing clear like a sweet melody. "Look at them," Sarah beamed, nudging him playfully. "They truly belong together." Daniel nodded, feeling thankful for this moment, the connection it brought. As he watched them dance, he couldn't help but relive his own memories of joy. It reminded him of long nights spent dancing around the kitchen with Emily as a child. Time wove beautifully as stories intertwined in this gathering, an endless tapestry of love. No one hurried, every moment frozen in gently flowing time. Eventually, the sun disappeared completely, leaving a blanket of twilight across the garden. Daniel spoke with friends, reminiscing and exchanging laughs. As the night deepened, food found its way into their bellies, sparking hearty conversations. Moments later, Daniel leaned back in his chair, soaking in the atmosphere. He gazed at the colorful lights above, twinkling in rhythm with his heart. He felt blissful contentment, recognizing how it stitched them all together. The sound of Emily's laughter reached his ears, and he turned to find her surrounded by her friends. They all leaned in close, chatting animatedly. He felt joy swelling within him, watching the happiness radiate from her. In that space, everything felt right. As Daniel savored the beauty of connection, he embraced the moment fully. The memories were all around him, weaving a fabric of love with each shared smile. Tonight, under the gathering stars, they celebrated life's joyful moments, rewriting stories together, one laugh at a time. The warmth in the garden wrapped around them, gently reinforcing why they were all gathered here at this beautiful engagement party. And as he observed, he knew. While time granted them this beautiful evening, it also held promises for the days ahead. Each memory forged in that garden felt timeless, sparking hope for many more joyful gatherings to follow. Daniel took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. He stood alone in a quiet corner of the garden, eyes closed. His heart raced while thoughts swirled. This was it. He was about to speak about Emily. He held a small piece of paper in his hand. He had scribbled notes, but they felt inadequate now. Daniel opened his eyes and gazed at the gathering. Friends and family filled the tables, laughter mingling in the air. Each face reflected love and joy. He replayed memories in his mind, snippets of Emily growing up. Each moment filled him with pride. He thought of her laughter as a child. Those carefree days seemed to float just like the twinkling stars above now. Their little games, her curious questions, and endless curiosity bubbled in his heart. With the notes still in hand, he began to pace lightly. Nervous energy coursed through him. Just as he was about to give in to his anxiety, he remembered Emily's encouraging smile. It provided him with comfort. She believed in him. His pen danced across the paper as he added a few last-minute thoughts. He wanted it to be special. He wanted to convey how much she meant to him and the dreams he held for her future. Each word had to count. Finally, Daniel felt ready. He walked back toward the gathering, the paper now folded neatly. His heart was racing, and warmth spread within. He reached the front, glancing around at the smiling faces. Everyone paused, sensing his approach. "May I have your attention, please?" His voice was steady but warm. The crowd quieted, eyes turning toward him. Daniel could see anticipation in their gazes. He took a deep breath, feeling the love surrounding him. "I want to say a few words about my daughter, Emily." The voices settled into silence. He felt a rush of emotions. Love flooded through him as he thought of her. He continued, "Today marks a new chapter for her. As she begins this journey with Anton, my heart swells with pride." He looked at Emily, who smiled back at him. There was a glimmer in her eyes. Emily has always been adventurous. She dives into life with both feet. Her spirit makes the world brighter. Her kindness touches everyone she meets. He felt his voice tremble slightly, but he pressed on. "I hope her journey brings her even more joy and adventure." Daniel paused, feeling the weight of his words. He searched the faces in the crowd. He saw their encouragement. It fueled his confidence. "To my dear Emily, may your path be filled with love and happiness. May you always remember that you are capable of achieving great things." The crowd listened intently. Daniel noticed the small gesture Emily made, wiping away a tear. It made his heart swell even more. "Tonight we celebrate you and your future." He raised his glass, feeling the moment grow. "I invite everyone to join me in a toast." As he lifted the glass higher, a sense of unity filled the air. "To Emily and Anton," he exclaimed, "may your love shine brightly, lighting the way for many years ahead." The moment felt electric. Cheers erupted from the crowd. Laughter and applause filled the garden as glasses clinked together. Daniel felt the warmth wash over him. He reveled in the shared joy, the love that connected every person present. Glasses glimmered in the soft evening light. Each clink seemed to echo the sentiment of the moment. Daniel turned to Emily and Anton, who were beaming. Their happiness radiated like the soft glow of twilight. The room felt fuller somehow, thriving on kindness and warmth. Cheers continued as guests raised their glasses, celebrating the couple's future. Between laughter and joy, they called out, "To love, to family, to new beginnings." Amid the happiness, Daniel felt a serene sense of fulfillment. He realized his hopes for Emily were now shared by all. The moment forged bonds between everyone. He stood there, overwhelmed with gratitude as the clinking continued. He saw familiar faces, neighbors, and relatives. Each person held a place in Emily's heart. As the celebration unfolded, Daniel felt a sense of peace settle over him. The garden buzzed with excitement, and beautiful moments surrounded them. Daniel breathed deeply. Each cheer and laughter brought him solace. It warmed him from the inside out. In that instant, he let go of any remaining worries. He took a step closer to Emily, who smiled brightly. "You did it, Dad," she whispered. Her joy radiated, filling the space around them. Daniel chuckled, feeling proud. The gentle sounds of laughter blended with soft conversations. Friends shared their own memories as the celebration continued. It felt like a tapestry woven from love and dreams. In that peaceful garden, surrounded by joy, Daniel realized this was not just about a wedding. It was about family, love, and connection. This moment would become part of their story. As more toasts echoed through the gathering, he felt tears of happiness in his eyes. He had shared a piece of his heart. Each word spoken echoed their bonds of love. Then, as the warmth of the moment enveloped him, Daniel knew that no matter where life led Emily, she would always carry his love with her. There was comfort in that thought. With glasses raised and hearts entwined, they all stood together in joy. Family and friends united in celebration. The night unfolded like a cherished memory, never to be forgotten. Time flowed gently, wrapping them in laughter and warmth. Daniel felt grateful, knowing each moment mattered. Their spirits soared, igniting sparks of hope for the future. He took one last look at Emily, her smile reflecting the kindness they shared. In that moment, everything felt complete. Joy lingered like the fragrant blossoms around them. As the toast continued, a soothing calm descended. Love enveloped them, knitting them closer together. Cheers resonated through the garden, wrapping around each attendee like a warm embrace. Then, as the sun dipped lower, Daniel exhaled a sigh of contentment. All was well. The celebration was just beginning, with joy twinkling in the air. He felt the memories creating a beautiful mosaic, each memory like a star shining bright. Tonight, they built a foundation of love, laughter, and grateful hearts. The evening stretched on, laughter ringing like music. With each toast, every heartfelt word united them. Darkness began to settle, but the joy within never dimmed. As the crowd continued to celebrate, Daniel stood tall, basking in the love surrounding him. He felt the spirit of the evening cradle him. In that moment, he knew life was full of promise. All around him, joy flowed as freely as the stars were beginning to appear. He closed his eyes briefly, feeling grateful for this chapter of their lives. With every cheer and celebration, a piece of the night would remain forever cherished. In the gentle night air, love blossomed like the jasmine surrounding them, a perfect ending to an unforgettable evening. Daniel smiled as he clinked his glass once again. Cheers filled the garden, echoing their hopes for tomorrow. And as the moment stretched on, it felt like time had stopped, just for them. As the laughter and chatter filled the garden, I turned my focus toward Emily and Jake. Daniel was leaning against the wooden railing, watching them interact. A warmth spread across the scene, their joy palpable amidst the bustling celebration. Emily brushed a loose strand of hair behind her ear. She laughed softly at something Jake said, her eyes sparkling. Jake leaned closer, his voice low, almost a whisper. I couldn't hear their words, but their body language told a story of its own. Every movement between them felt charged. Emily's playful nudges made Jake's smile wider. He looked at her as if she was the most beautiful sight he'd ever seen. I noticed the soft glow on her cheeks and the way her laughter resonated like a melody through the warm evening air. I felt a tug of concern deep within me. Emily had changed recently, adopting a seriousness that seemed foreign. She was the light of our family, and seeing this shift in her worried me slightly. Jake was kind, attentive, but was he enough? I tried to shake off my apprehensions, focusing instead on their interaction. Emily tilted her head, listening intently as Jake shared a story. Her smile widened, absorbing every word he spoke. They shared a world all their own, a bond I couldn't intrude upon. What were they whispering about in such a secluded moment? I wanted to dive into their exchange, but I respected their privacy. Still, that gentle concern lingered. I recalled times when Emily was light-hearted and carefree, and I wondered where that girl had gone. Jake placed a hand on Emily's arm, his touch lingering. It looked spontaneous, but something about it felt deliberate. Was this affection new? I couldn't shake the feeling that it radiated a depth I hadn't fully acknowledged before. Emily's eyes flickered with something profound as they gazed into each other's. I noticed a flicker of intensity, a spark that ignited a burning need in my heart. This connection was different, more serious. My protective instincts flared, and I caught myself wanting to shield her. Was this seriousness necessary at her young age? The weight of the moment felt heavy on my shoulders as a parent. I inhaled deeply, but my exhale was shaky. Was Jake ready for all that Emily could bring into his life? I blinked, watching the lovebirds sharing their secrets, laughter punctuating their conversation. I reminded myself that love blossoms in time, often taking unexpected forms. Each relationship navigates unique paths. Perhaps their journey required this subtle intensity. I pushed my doubts aside as I listened for their voices again. Soft laughter came like music, ringing clear amidst the chatter of the gathering. I couldn't help but smile, feeling blessed that she found companionship with someone who seemed to appreciate her. As they whispered, I witnessed a change in Emily's posture. She stood with confidence, radiating warmth that enveloped those nearby, including me. Would finding that strength through love guide her back to the joyous girl she had once been? I felt the ground solid beneath my feet, yet uncertainty twisted within my heart. The garden was alive with flourishing relationships, but I yearned for the simpler days when Emily's laughter echoed without reservations. Then, without thinking, I took a step closer. I wanted to witness the silent language of their bond, what magnetic pull worked between them. As I observed, Jake caught my eye and smiled gently, an invitation to be part of their world, if just for a moment. The instant he smiled, I'd made my decision. I wanted to learn more about the man who had Emily so entranced. I straightened up, brushing off my worries like dust on an old jacket. Their connection seemed powerful, but I also wanted to ensure Emily would never carry that weight alone. With every shared smile and quiet exchange, I realized that my daughter deserved happiness. Jake might be the person who could help her reclaim that lightness. As I studied their interaction, I felt a cautious sense of hope flicker in my chest. In that moment, I had the urge to reach out, but I swallowed my curiosity for the time being. I didn't want to interrupt. Instead, I leaned back against the railing, listening closely to the sounds of life around me. The garden was alive, pulsing with warmth and affection. The evening progressed, and the golden hue of twilight began to settle in. Conversations flowed like music through the air, weaving meaningful connections. Yet, I found my focus still on Emily and Jake. Their chemistry was tangible, and I felt a flicker of excitement for the promise it held. Emily lowered her head, laughing again at something Jake had said. The world around seemed to fade away as they immersed themselves in each other. Moments like these felt precious, and as I observed, I wished to hold on to them forever. With a gentle smile, I took another step, now a mere few feet away. I yearned to capture that moment in time forever. Their connection may have held many unspoken truths. I felt compelled to know what lay beneath those whispers. Suddenly my phone buzzed, startling me from my thoughts. I fumbled for it, breaking the spell of their enchanting moment. I glanced at the screen, a message from my sister. I considered whether it was best to stay present or respond. But as I looked up, I found Emily gazing at me, a question reflected in her eyes. She was looking for reassurance, I realized. Perhaps it was me who needed it. I smiled back, offering her silent support and love. Jake noticed her look, then shifted his attention to me. "Hey, Daniel," he said, his voice warm and inviting. "Want to join us for a moment?" I hesitated briefly, drawing myself away from my anxieties. This was a rare opportunity to connect. "Sure," I replied, moving a bit closer. My heart raced at the thought of learning more from him. I wanted to understand why my daughter glowed around him. As I approached their circle, Emily's laughter resonated in the air. I took a deep breath, steadying my thoughts. Entering the heart of their connection, I prepared myself to delve into the whispers that felt significant. What kind of bond did they hold? I could already see Emily's tension ease as I joined them. Jake's comfort with her made it easier to be there. "What are you two plotting?" I asked with a teasing grin, trying to break the seriousness lingering in my heart. They both laughed, a soft light filling the air. "Just exchanging ideas for the wedding," Jake said lightly. "Right, Emily?" Her eyes sparkled. "Yes, we've had some fun plans in mind." Her enthusiasm was contagious, and I felt comforted knowing this was a light-hearted moment for her. I shared a few suggestions, tossing around ideas that made them both smile. Each exchange brought us closer, and for a split second, my worries faded. We engaged in conversation, laughter filling the garden around us. During one of the pauses, I glanced at Jake. "So any hints about what you like about my daughter?" I asked playfully, a sly grin at the corners of my mouth. He took in a breath, then glanced at Emily. "She's genuine, kind and authentic," he said. "Being around her feels right." The sincerity in his voice struck me. Moments passed as I picked apart his words. There was something real in his eyes. I felt a wave of relief wash over me. Perhaps they truly harnessed this bond together. Perhaps Emily was in good hands. But still uncertainty lingered. A gentle tug of concern brushed against my heart. I wanted Emily to remain carefree. It was understandable for her to grow up and find love, but this too often felt heavy. The evening wore on, the sun dipping below the horizon, and stars began to sprinkle the sky. The soft glow felt magical, highlighting the warmth in the air. I glanced at Emily, who finally seemed at ease, free to share herself entirely. Just then, Jake leaned closer again, whispering something in her ear. I wondered if I should be listening. But their smiles said enough, and as much as curiosity tugged at me, it was clear I was witnessing something beautiful. Emily's laughter rang in the night as her face lit up with joy. The softness in her expression melted my concerns, even if just for a moment. I stood, embracing that filling sense of relief. And for that beautiful instant, surrounded by laughter and whispers, I knew this night was special. Their connection carried promise and hope. As I watched the two of them together, I felt pride in seeing my daughter bloom. With each soft-looking exchange, I felt my worries begin to melt away. Tonight was a celebration of love, at its purest form. I took a deep breath, letting their warmth wash over me as I chose to embrace it. Dark clouds of doubt faded, and twinkling hope took their place. Emily stepped away from the animated group, her movements soft and deliberate. The laughter around her faded into a gentle hum as she glanced back at them. The warm lights twinkled above, casting soft glows in the garden. She approached Daniel, who still leaned against the wooden railing, lost in thought. "Hey," she said softly. Her voice drew him from his musings. Daniel met her gaze, surprised by her sudden closeness. He sensed something was different about this moment. Emily leaned in closer, her lips brushing against his ear. "I need to tell you something," she whispered. Her breath was warm, urgent. She glanced back at Jake, who was mingling with other guests, his laughter still punctuating the evening air. Daniel noted the glimmer of concern in her eyes, hidden beneath her casual demeanor. "What is it?" he asked, his curiosity piqued. He felt a tightening in his chest, his instincts sharpening. He was aware that something was on Emily's mind, something unsettling. This was not a random aside. It felt heavier. "Just check references," Emily said cryptically. Her eyes flickered to Jake again. There was a weight in her tone, a message wrapped in mystery. Daniel absorbed her words, trying to understand their deeper meaning. Checking references? What did she mean? His mind raced with possibilities. What was she foreseeing? He felt an urge to protect her, an instinctual response to any hint of danger. He stepped slightly closer, searching for clarity. "What's going on, Emily?" he urged, his voice low and steady. She didn't reply immediately, her gaze fixed on Jake. "It's not what you think," she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. Daniel's concern only deepened. He felt a wave of protective instinct wash over him, sensing that Emily was caught in something larger than their conversation. A part of him wanted to shield her from whatever uncertainty she anticipated. "Is it about Jake?" he pressed, his heart racing. He watched her body tense at the name. Emily hesitated, her brow furrowing. "No, not directly," she replied, her voice careful. "But just be cautious." The hint of warning lingered between them. Daniel felt the gravity of her words. "Cautious of what?" he pressed. "Just trust your instincts," she murmured. She pulled back slightly, but not enough to lose the connection. Daniel felt a warmth rising within him, mixed with apprehension. He glanced at Jake once more. Jake was animated, chatting away with another guest. A smile danced on his lips, but Daniel couldn't shake the feeling that something beneath the surface was lurking. Jake seemed too charming, too engaged. Daniel returned his gaze to Emily. Her expression was filled with concern, but also a glimmer of hope. He wished he could ease her worry, to assure her that he would protect her. "I will," he promised. "I'll be cautious." Emily offered a small nod, relief flickering across her features. But deep down he sensed her unease was still present. He took a breath, grounding himself in the moment. "Let's not dwell on it now," he said softly. "Let's enjoy the gathering." Emily smiled faintly. "Yeah, let's." She stepped back, but Daniel could still feel the connection. There was something unshakable about their bond at that moment, a silent agreement to watch over each other. As they rejoined the group, Daniel couldn't ignore the pulse of tension that lingered in the air. He caught Jake's gaze, and for a fleeting second, he felt a challenge there. Jake's charm was undeniable, but there was something more that Daniel couldn't fathom. The evening continued as laughter spilled through the garden. Daniel focused on Emily, paying close attention to her interactions. He wanted to ensure she felt safe, to ward off the shadows that he knew lurked in their conversation. But every time he glanced at Jake, he felt a small prick of concern. Something about the other man's laughter felt off, as if it masked something deeper. Daniel realized that their worlds had just crashed together, and he needed to protect what was most important, Emily. He turned his attention back to her, watching as she engaged with others. Jake was nearby, still weaving between conversations. Daniel balanced between vigilance and relaxation, finding solace in Emily's presence. He felt the need to know more, to peel back the layers surrounding the situation. That whisper in the breeze echoed in his mind, the urgency clear. He spent the rest of the gathering scanning the crowd while making small talk. Emily would occasionally catch his eye, a reassuring smile playing on her lips. Daniel felt a sense of calm rise within him, but it was laced with uncertainty. He had promised to check his instincts, but how could he do that when unease coiled around the edges of their celebration? As the evening wore on, he noticed how the ambient noise of laughter and music seemed to lower, almost as if the garden itself was inhaling deeply. The warmth from the gathered friends wrapped around him, but tension still tightened in Daniel's gut. Each chuckle or cheerful exclamation felt at odds with Emily's words. He was captivated by Emily as she laughed, her joy momentarily soothing his worry. But the moments of laughter were fleeting, feelings of vulnerability bubbling back to the surface whenever he glanced at Jake. Every interaction felt amplified. Daniel was aware of every movement, the slight shift of Jake's stance, the way he used his hands during conversation. Each detail added another layer to the apprehension brewing inside Daniel. He tried to shake it off, reminding himself of the festive spirit surrounding them. Emily's laughter was infectious, and he wanted to join in that lightness. But what if, he thought, what if there's something more? Just as his thoughts spiraled, he caught Emily's eye again. She smiled, her face brightening up in a way that made his heart race. He wanted to draw her back into their bubble, away from the chatter and into something safer. Daniel felt anchored by the moment. He leaned closer to her as they shared a quick laugh at an inside joke, but the nagging threat remained, tinged with mystery. Each time Emily glanced at Jake, Daniel felt a stirring of worry. Jake approached more frequently, his demeanor drawing attention. The crowd around them could feel it too. They were buzzing, feeding off the energy. Still, he remained vigilant. The night unfolded around them like a dream, leaving him grappling with unshakable instincts. He wanted to unravel the cryptic message Emily had shared, but doubt gnawed at him. He turned back to face the group, forcing himself to enjoy the celebration. Laughter filled the air with a symphony of relaxed excitement. With every passing moment, the question lingered. Did he truly trust Jake? Emily's warning echoed eerily. He would check his references, whatever that meant, but first he needed to breathe. In the hustle of the gathering, he felt tethered to Emily. She deserved enjoyment tonight, free from his worries. He thought about throwing himself back into conversations, yet the unease nestled in him remained. He felt like a guard on high alert, watching over something precious. As they stood together against the backdrop of celebration, he whispered to Emily, "We should go for a walk, just us." Emily met his eyes, recognizing the need for a moment of solitude. "Sure," she replied softly. They slipped away from the crowd, stepping into the soft shadows of the garden. The atmosphere shifted, and Daniel felt a delightful sense of freedom. With each step, the chaos of the gathering faded, leaving them wrapped in their shared space. He looked at her, wanting to erase any remnants of worry that had surfaced. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice gentle. She nodded, though he noticed a hint of trepidation clinging to her aura. "Just that whisper," she began, her gaze lowering to the ground. "I didn't mean to upset you." Daniel brushed his fingers against her arm, anchoring her in the moment. "You didn't upset me," he reassured her. "You just know something I don't." It's something I've sensed, she said, looking up at him, but it's vague, unclear. A cool breeze danced between them, carrying the weight of the evening. It just felt right to stand close, basking in each other's presence. Whatever it is, I'll take care of it, Daniel promised. I know you will, she replied with a soft smile, though the tension remained. He felt the heaviness ease for a moment, but deeper shadows still lurked on the horizon. The need for protection remained strong within him. They continued their stroll, calming their minds as the gentle night embraced them. Together, they focused on the laughter lingering behind them, on the warmth of fleeting moments shared in the outside world. But just beneath that surface, uncertainty remained like an echo, waiting to be resolved. In that calm space between them, the cryptic whisper warmed Daniel's heart but left him riddled with questions. He would find clarity soon, but for now he would hold on to this moment, just Emily and him, away from the noise. The calm of their space filled him with hope amid the unease, a silent promise shimmering in the cool evening air. Hello and welcome. My name is Daniel. As I returned to the party, Emily's words echoed in my mind like a haunting melody. The warmth of the celebration felt distant now. I replayed our conversation. Was her warning sincere, or was it a trick of my mind? Thoughts swirled about my relationship with her and Jake, feeding my uncertainty. Emily had always been protective, always looking out for Jake. I admired that about her. Yet I sensed an undercurrent in her tone. Why did she choose that moment to express her concerns? I felt a knot tighten in my stomach. I reluctantly stepped back into the vibrant atmosphere of laughter. Daniel, a voice called. I turned to see Sarah waving from across the gathering. With a forced smile, I approached her. Glad you could join us, she said, her excitement palpable. Yeah, thanks, I replied. The words felt hollow. It was hard to stay present. She continued talking about the decorations, her eyes sparkling with joy. I nodded along, but my mind was miles away, focused on Jake. As I turned, I caught a glimpse of him. He was deep in conversation, laughing easily, like Emily. My heart softened briefly until that protective instinct flared again. I excused myself from Sarah, but as I moved through the crowd, I found it challenging to engage fully. Each laugh and cheer felt distant. I watched how the guests interacted, saw fleeting moments of connection, yet my focus lay scattered. In the sea of chatter, Ben and Lucy approached. They smiled widely, inviting me to join a game. Come on, Daniel, it's fun. Maybe later, I said, attempting a smile, but my eyes were fixed on Jake again. He was too engrossed in conversation, too unaware. I felt an urge to intervene, but what did I even fear? The thought of Emily lingered. She loved him, there was no doubt. Was she merely projecting her worries onto me? Everything okay? Ben asked. Yeah, just thinking, I responded, my voice trailing off. The laughter continued around us, but I felt an odd disconnection from it. I excused myself again, weaving back through the throngs of celebrating friends. Their happiness juxtaposed strangely against my swirling anxiety. I spotted Jake again, still chatting with Emily. She leaned in closer, a gesture so familiar, so tender. My heart twisted. Could something be happening beneath that surface? A few minutes passed and I caught another glimpse. Emily seemed concerned, her expression shifting from lightness to a pointed gaze. Was she worried about Jake's choices? I needed to cultivate caution. Observing him felt vital now. The decision crystallized within me. I would watch Jake closely throughout the evening. I needed to find clarity in this chaos. I took a deep breath, anchoring myself in resolution. No longer would I drift aimlessly through the celebration. I started positioning myself closer, maintaining the delicate balance between parent and friend. Danielle joined our group next, her laughter breaking momentarily through my thoughts. Come on, Daniel, "Join us," she called. I managed a small smile, but my mind remained focused on Jake. The laughter around me felt like an echo, far removed. Danielle continued speaking, but her words danced over my consciousness. I nodded in response, still fixated on Jake. He and Emily appeared to be enjoying the moment, an intimate bubble in the sea of festivities. Sinister thoughts pushed against my resolve. I stood slightly apart, scanning the crowd while pretending to engage. The faces of my friends blurred together as I focused again on the two of them. "Daniel, are you even listening?" Danielle called, a playful grin on her face. I forced myself to refocus. "What did you say?" She laughed, shaking her head. "You're lost in thought still. Focus on the fun." "Yeah, I'll catch up," I said. "Just a lot on my mind." She tilted her head, concern creeping into her expression, but she shifted back to the group. Again, my gaze sharpened on Jake. He had stepped away from Emily now, heading towards the refreshments. Is this how it begins? I thought. A small, subtle transition to new friends, new paths. I chose to follow, easing my way through the crowd. The music pulsed softly, filling the space with a gentle energy. Jake poured himself a drink, holding it without care. I felt an odd sense of urgency. Watching closely, I read every nuance of his actions. Could I decide for him who he should be? I wrestled with my inner dialogue. Jake spotted me first, his face breaking into a bright smile. "Hey, Dad," his voice rang out, carrying warmth. "Hey, buddy," I replied, matching his enthusiasm. For a moment, he seemed untroubled, untouched by the evening's undercurrents. But I couldn't shake the weight of Emily's warning. "Having fun?" I asked casually, testing the waters of his evening. "Yeah, everyone's super chill. You've got to see the fireworks later," he said. Fireworks. The promise of spectacle momentarily pulled me away from my worries. I nodded along. Yet, I sensed another shift. He spoke to me, but his eagerness felt tinged with something unspoken. I had to tread carefully. "You know, Emily seemed worried earlier," I said, gauging his reaction. Jake's eyebrows darted upward, surprise lighting his features. "Oh, about what?" That casual ease slipped a little. I could feel the tension rising in my chest. She mentioned some things, family stuff. I kept my tone light, feigning nonchalance. "Family stuff," he echoed, confusion crossing his face. "Yeah, just the usual worries, growing up and all that," I replied, weighing my words. He shrugged, returning to the drinks. "I mean, it's fine, nothing to worry about." I sensed a blockage, a wall he wished to construct. His weight shifted uneasily on his feet. "Just promise you'll keep me in the loop," I encouraged, leaning in closer. Jake raised the drink to his lips, avoiding my gaze for a moment. "Sure, Dad," he mumbled, his tone dismissive. An unsteady feeling entered my stomach like a stone. I watched him for any signs of unease, any indication of what bothered him. Emotions danced through me as the laughter continued around us like a strange, evolving soundtrack. Would I place unnecessary burdens on him? I remembered the weight of my own childhood. "Let's go back and find Emily," I suggested, pulling him back toward the crowd. "Whatever you say," Jake shrugged, but I sensed resistance in him. The festive ambiance enveloped us once more, but I noted that his laughter felt superficial. I wondered if Jake felt the weight of my concern like lead on his shoulders. As we reached the edge of the group, the sparkles of Emily's laughter reached my ears again. I looked toward her, noticing the softness in her eyes. "Hey!" she exclaimed as she spotted us. Her smile felt like a beacon through the haze of my thoughts. It grounded me, if only for a moment. "Everything okay?" she asked, her gaze shifting between us. "Yeah," I assured her, but I saw flickers of uncertainty in Jake's expression. The celebration continued to swirl around us, a chaotic dance of color and sound. I stayed attuned to Jake's reactions. The evening unfolded, hints of laughter mingling with moments of tension. I contemplated Emily's warning as the stars twinkled above, casting their silent light upon the garden. At each moment I felt the pull between loyalty and care. My protective instinct pressed against the joy of celebration. As the night deepened, I resolved to observe Jake. Every glance, every smile would be carefully noted. Time moved slowly, stretching into eternity, each heartbeat echoing my concerns. The joy of fireworks would soon light the sky. I took another deep breath, feeling the remains of the day flow around me. "Let's grab some snacks," I suggested, turning back towards the buffet. Jake nodded, moving ahead a few paces. I shadowed him closely. The laughter warped. The noise molded into an almost surreal experience. Would this night shift everything for us? My mind wandered to what lay ahead, spinning tales of worry and what-ifs. Yet I continued to remind myself, tonight was a celebration. I must balance this uneasy vigilance with a dose of joy. "Hey, can you grab the veggies?" I called to Jake, pointing at the platter he'd initially overlooked. "Sure," he answered, racing toward it. I inhaled deeply. This moment felt fleeting. I stood still, hands tucked into my pockets, contemplating the harmony of the night. And in that moment, I felt the gentle lift of community. The evening unfurled ahead, filled with laughter, conversations, and potential revelations. As the fireworks became overdue, I felt the anticipation growing in my chest. Underneath, I knew the night was just beginning, my narrative intertwining with theirs. I focused on the present, observing Jake closely, preparing for whatever turning point lay ahead. I would be ready. I leaned against the wooden railing, my gaze fixed on Jake. The garden buzzed with conversation, laughter blending into a soft symphony. My heart answered the joy surrounding us, but my mind focused on one thing, Emily's unease. I studied Jake as he drifted from group to group, engaging with friends and family. He laughed easily, his smiles bright. I watched him lean into conversations, drawing people in with his charm. This light-hearted atmosphere made it difficult to hold on to my worries. Jake's laughter spilled like sunlight, warming those around him. But beneath that warmth, I sought signs of anything amiss. Moving through the crowd, Jake had an ease about him. His gestures were animated, his eyes sparkling. I noted how he related to others. He listened intently, nodding as his friends spoke. A thoughtful expression crossed his face when someone shared a story. He replied with confidence, his laughter infectious. But Emily's words echoed in my mind. A protective instinct surged within me. I wanted to shield my daughter from any potential harm. I stepped forward, closer to the gathering, straining to catch bits of their conversation. Would I see something? Some hint of danger lurking beneath his charm? Jake moved toward a group huddled near the refreshment table. He joined their conversation swiftly, his body language open and welcoming. I could see how they gravitated toward him, their laughter rising in the evening air. I felt a tension deep in my chest. His demeanor seemed perfectly normal, yet I could not ignore Emily's concerns. In the crowd, I caught snippets of their chatter. Jake shared a personal story, and his friends listened eagerly. He spoke with enthusiasm, his voice rising and falling with the narrative. They roared with laughter, enjoying the moment. But I zeroed in on Jake's choice of words, analyzing each phrase for meaning. As I watched, I noticed how Jake made eye contact. He didn't shy away. Instead, he engaged directly, a sign of confidence. My protective instincts fought against the rosy picture unfolding before me. This gathering felt safe, yet doubt crept in. I stepped back slightly, pulse quickening. The delicate balance of celebration and my instincts lingered in the air. Jake became the center of attention, and my mind began racing again. Was I overreacting, or was I simply being a father? The soft sounds of clinking glasses reached my ears as Jake raised his drink. An animated discussion ensued, and I admired his ability to relate to others. He peppered his friends with questions, inviting them to share more about their lives. Their responses flooded in, laughter cascading around him. I smiled then, observing how genuine he seemed. Yet a flicker of unease remained. How could someone so charismatic harbor anything concerning? I remained vigilant, assessing every nuance, every inflection in his voice. I settled closer during a lull in the conversations, hoping to overhear more. Jake's character unfolded in layers, but my protective instincts refused to let me be at ease. He was charming, yes, but what about those moments when the laughter faded? Would he still be the same? A friend nudged Jake playfully, teasing him. My heart tightened. Would he respond with humor or defensiveness? Jake chuckled, brushing off the comment with grace, showcasing his relaxed nature. I exhaled, feeling the tension in my shoulders ease just slightly. Each laugh felt like a reassurance, yet uncertainty clung to me. My instincts pulsed beneath the surface. I held my ground, torn between worry and the celebration's joy. I wanted to trust Jake, yet Emily's worry echoed loudly in my mind. The festivities around us swirled, creating a comforting noise. Their connection felt genuine. But still I studied Jake intently. He reached out to a younger cousin, bending to listen. I took this in, noting the ease of interaction. His tone softened, and he engaged without condescension. Yet I could not help but wonder what Emily sensed. As the evening wore on, Jake continued to shine brightly, carefree, and alive. My heart, still tethered to my daughter's concerns, grappled with the dichotomy. He veered into another group, immediately becoming the focus of their banter. I felt a sense of pride swell within me, even as my unease remained. Could there be hidden depths beneath his playful facade? Jake tossed back his head, laughing freely, and I forced myself to relax. Each happy note gave me pause, yet caution still whispered in my ear. I watched as Jake navigated the environment, effortlessly reading the room, an intuitive blend of listening and leading. Then, as if sensing my scrutiny, Jake turned toward me briefly. Our eyes met, and he waved. I returned the gesture, fighting down the instinct to intervene. Did I have the right to worry? The atmosphere around us stirred with life and laughter, blurring my judgment. In that moment, he broke away from the others and strolled toward me. My heart raced as he approached, laughter still dancing in his eyes. "Daniel," he called, genuine warmth in his tone. "How's your evening going?" "It's going well," I replied, trying to sound casual. Behind that calm voice, my inner turmoil brewed. I examined his expression, searching for hidden meanings. "I was just catching up with everyone," he said, his smile unwavering. "Emily seems to be having a good time, too." My instinct stirred again. Was he aware of Emily's concerns? "Yeah," I responded. "She is." I watched his reaction closely. He nodded, seemingly at ease, his confidence intact. "It's great to see you bonding with the family." "I love being here," he said simply. "This place feels like home." His eyes flickered with sincerity. I looked beyond his words, searching for shadows. "You know how it is, right? Family means everything." I took a breath, letting his words settle. But did they hide truth, or were they simply a mask? My protective instincts remained alert, tempered only by the warmth of his demeanor. The surrounding conversations receded to a distant hum as we continued our exchange. "I'm glad," I said, feeling the tension in my chest remain. "Family comes first." Jake nodded, still holding my gaze with confidence. If he sensed my scrutiny, he didn't show it. Just then, laughter erupted from the other groups, drawing his attention away. He turned slightly, his gaze flicking to the others, but I seized the moment. "You're not being too much for Emily, are you?" Jake tilted his head, processing my question. "What do you mean?" His confusion was genuine, and I felt a surge of protective instinct. I just want to make sure you're treating her well." Jake's laughter faded for a moment, his expression shifting. "Of course, Daniel," he replied, his tone steady. "I care about her. That's all I want." The sincerity in his voice begged a deeper inquiry, yet I hesitated. Conversations swirled around us again, the atmosphere lifting slightly. Every part of me wanted to let the surface calm wash over, but my doubts loomed. "I know you do," I finally said, my words measured. "Just be careful." Jake's gaze held mine, a flicker of understanding passing between us. "I promise," he said softly, "I'm here for her." I could detect that inflection, the weight on each syllable. Was it conviction or a mask? My instincts prodded, leaving me questioning everything. The evening pressed on, light-hearted banter floating around us. Jake laughed again, and my heart tugged between trust and watchfulness. I needed to balance my protective instincts against the joyful atmosphere. His charisma was vibrant, but beneath it, what truth lay hidden? "Let's go join them," Jake said, beckoning me toward the group. The warmth of his invitation pulled at me. I followed, uncertainty growing with each step. As we merged back into the delight of the gathering, I took note of Jake's interactions with everyone. He captivated them. His charisma wove a thread binding the group. I monitored every laugh, every playful exchange, seeking any hint that aligned with Emily's worries. Yet all I saw was charm, woven seamlessly into the vibrant chaos of the evening. As the sun dipped lower in the sky and shadows lengthened, the air filled with a sense of belonging. It invited forgiveness for doubt, wrapped me in celebration. But I clung to uncertainty, wary of the facade. Would I ever truly know what Jake brought to Emily's life? In the haze of laughter and warmth, I felt a decision looming. Would I lean into this moment, allow joy to flourish, or hold on to my apprehensions? Jake turned and caught my gaze again, eyes bright, filled with youthful exuberance. The choice weighed heavily in my heart. Finally, I sighed inwardly, allowing the moment to wash over me. A balance would be found. Jake continued to share with enthusiasm, his animated gestures punctuating the conversation. I remained vigilant, but perhaps tonight the shadows could wait. As laughter soared around me, I allowed myself to be part of the celebration, surrendering momentarily to the ebb and flow of life. Perhaps joy could coexist with caution, allowing connection to thrive within the safety of vigilance. I would find that balance. I would protect and enjoy all at once. In that moment, I pushed my concerns aside, at least for now. The night continued, filled with warmth and laughter, weaving our stories tighter than the flickering lights above. So within the vibrant atmosphere, I tethered the protective instincts deep within, surrendering to the moment. I led Emily away from the laughter and music, searching for a quieter place. The garden's vibrant glow faded as we stepped into a cozy corner. I noticed the stillness around us, a contrast to the lively gathering. "Daniel," she said softly, her voice a gentle whisper. I turned to face her fully. She looked uncertain, her brows slightly furrowed. My heart sank at the worry etched across her face. This was my chance to connect. "Can we talk?" I asked, my voice steady. She nodded, crossing her arms as if protecting herself. I felt a tug of concern. I needed to understand what was weighing on her. "It's about Jake," she finally admitted, her eyes locking onto mine. I braced myself, ready to listen. Lately, I felt uneasy about him. The seriousness in her tone pierced through the calm around us. "Tell me more," I encouraged, stepping closer. She shifted her weight and bit her lip, searching for words. A pause stretched between us, heavy with unspoken feelings. "He's been different," she began slowly. "There's this unpredictability. He seemed harmless, but now I wonder." I nodded, wanting to absorb every word. I could see her struggle. "Do you think he poses a threat?" I asked gently. Emily's gaze fell to the ground, her worry palpable. I don't know exactly, just a feeling, she confessed finally, her voice barely a whisper. I thought about my interactions with Jake. The laughter we shared felt distant now. Have you talked to him about it? I asked, curious about her approach. Emily shook her head, her expression pained. No, I didn't know how to bring it up. It feels complicated. I reached out, placing a hand on her shoulder. She met my eyes, searching for reassurance. Emily, your feelings matter. We can sort this out together, I said, my voice calm and steady. It was essential she felt safe to express herself. Her shoulders relaxed slightly, as if releasing some weight. I care about you, Daniel, she said, her words dripping with sincerity. But it's hard to keep this to myself. I took a deep breath, feeling a swell of love for her. I love you too, I replied, sincerity reaching into my very core. I want to understand how you're feeling. You can always talk to me. Emily smiled faintly, but the worry lingered in her eyes. I guess I just don't know what to do next, she admitted, her voice trembling slightly. I don't want to make things worse. I paused, giving her space to collect herself. Let's define what worse looks like, I suggested. Is it confronting Jake, or is it staying silent? Emily considered my words closely. The tension in her jaw relaxed a bit. Confronting him feels daunting, but ignoring it is also terrible, she sighed. I couldn't help but agree. This balancing act was tough for both of us. Maybe we approach it together, I proposed. Her eyes widened slightly, surprise visible in her expression. You'd do that? She asked, a mixture of relief and gratitude filling her tone. Absolutely, I affirmed, the conviction ringing strong in my heart. We're a team, okay? We'll navigate this together. Emily's smile broadened, a light breaking through the shadows. Thank you, Daniel. That means more than you know. I could feel the warmth between us growing, solidifying our bond. A quiet understanding flowed through the space around us. But what will we say? She asked, tilting her head. What if he reacts badly? I stroked my chin, considering her question sincerely. We can focus on your feelings, not accusations. Be honest and kind. She nodded, taking a deep breath. That sounds fair, she replied thoughtfully. I just want to feel safe. I gently squeezed her shoulder. You are safe with me always. The night continued around us, the laughter and music still dancing in the air. But here in this corner, time felt almost suspended. I cherished this moment with her, realizing how vital our connection was. I just can't shake this feeling, Emily said, breaking the silence. Her vulnerability pierced through me. I worry what Jake will think and how it'll change things. I wanted to honor her feelings. Change can be scary, but it can also lead to growth, I said softly. What matters is that you're being true to yourself. She met my gaze, an understanding dawning in her eyes. Thank you for doing this with me, she murmured, emotion thick in her voice. I hoped for support, but I didn't know I'd find it here tonight. I smiled, my heart swelling. Right here, right now, we can create a plan, I suggested, shifting my posture to face her more fully. The world outside felt distant. It was just us. What if we talk to Jake after the party, when things are calmer? Emily contemplated my words. That could be a good idea, not too much pressure for anyone. I could see her relief starting to settle in. Shall we head back now? I offered, wanting to ease the residual tension. Emily nodded, and I could see the determination growing in her eyes. I felt proud of her bravery. Just as we stepped out of our quiet corner, I felt a rush of clarity. Whatever happened, I was there for Emily, and I always would be. The journey ahead felt daunting, but meaningful. As we returned to the party, I caught Jake's eye across the garden. His laughter rang out clear, but somehow it felt different now. I glanced at Emily, noticing her confidence growing. Are you ready? I asked softly, my hand slipping into hers. She squeezed it tightly, a spark igniting. Yes, she replied, the conviction in her voice palpable. We walked back together side by side. The celebrations reminded me of who we were as individuals. Yet, standing together, I knew we were stronger. As we approached the group, I felt a wave of calm wash over us. I believe in us, I whispered, a promise meant only for her. Emily glanced at me, her eyes shining with gratitude and love. Together we could face whatever lay ahead. As the party began to wind down, laughter echoed through the garden. Guests made their way toward the exit, each exchanging warm goodbyes. "Thank you for an amazing evening," one said, embracing Daniel's wife. Daniel stood by the door, embracing the moment. He watched as each guest expressed gratitude. Some lingered, each thank you weaving into the fabric of the night. It felt bittersweet, like a closing chapter. He glanced around, noticing how the vibrant energy had transformed into a gentle hum of voices. Daniel's gaze found Emily. She stood close to Jake, laughing softly at something he said. The sight stirred something deep in him. He felt a mix of pride and apprehension. This moment held weight. His daughter was blossoming, and yet Daniel cradled his fears tightly. He took a breath, observing the way they interacted. Emily's eyes sparkled as she leaned into Jake's words. Daniel's heart swelled, yet uncertainty crept in. Was she ready for the journey of independence? He wanted to trust her, but couldn't help but feel protective. They were standing at the edge of something new. As the last few guests trickled out, Daniel felt his heart align with the joy around him. The smiles, the laughter, they were all evidence of a beautiful evening. He forced his insecurities to the back of his mind. This was a celebration of love and growth, transitions and futures. "Daniel," Emily called, her voice ringing clear. He turned to her, and a wave of warmth washed over him. She looked radiant, a mix of youth and maturity. "Did you see how much fun everyone had?" She smiled brightly, and her happiness was infectious. He nodded, his chest swelling with a strange combination of emotions. "It was wonderful, Em. You did such a great job tonight," he replied, his voice steady. For a moment they shared an understanding glance. He realized that she had blossomed into a young woman ready to face the world. Jake stepped closer, sliding his arm around Emily's shoulders. "Thanks for bringing us all together," he said, shooting Daniel a friendly smile. Daniel felt a shift within him. Suddenly, it wasn't just about his worries. It was about trust. Trusting Emily, even if it was hard. "I'm glad you both enjoyed it," Daniel replied, his tone lighter now. He could feel the tension easing from his shoulders. He took a moment to appreciate the connection between them. It felt like more than just a simple friendship. They were growing together, and he needed to allow that. The lingering guests finally said their last goodbyes. "See you soon. Can't wait for the next party," one woman exclaimed, waving as she left. Daniel chuckled softly. What would the next gathering look like? He let his mind wander momentarily before returning to the present. Feeling a blend of emotions, he glanced at Emily and Jake again. They laughed together, their voices mixing in the night air. He recalled the girl who once timidly asked for guidance. Now here she was, confident and bright. It struck him just how far they had come. Daniel took a deep breath, finally accepting this shift in their relationship. He embraced the joy of the moment. He felt gratitude swell within him, a warm embrace that wrapped around his heart. The journey was not just hers, but also his, a new chapter unfolding together. "Ready to head inside?" Emily asked, breaking his reverie. Her eyes shone with excitement. "I think there are leftover cupcakes." She said this like it was the most important thing in the world. Daniel couldn't help but laugh at her enthusiasm. "Cupcakes? How can I resist?" he replied, chuckling. He fell into step with them as they headed towards the kitchen. Daniel realized he wanted to relish every small moment with her. They were no longer just father and daughter, they were companions on this journey. As they entered the house, soft chatter filled the space. Emily and Jake settled onto the sofa, their laughter ringing through the air. Daniel moved to the kitchen, grateful for the chance to witness these moments of joy between them. He poured a glass of water and took a sip. The coolness was refreshing, grounding him. He turned to glance at them. The sight made his heart swell. They were sharing their hopes and dreams, plans for the future, and he wanted to be a part of that conversation. "Hey," he called out, stepping back into the living room. "What are we planning for our next adventure?" He smiled, eager to hear their ideas. Emily turned, a bright smile on her face. "I was thinking a road trip, just the three of us," she beamed. Daniel felt a thrill at her suggestion. A road trip? It sounded exhilarating, yet the thought made him anxious. "That sounds amazing, but," he started, hesitating. "You need to be careful." He sensed a flicker of uncertainty within him. Emily nodded, understanding, but Jake jumped in with enthusiasm. "Don't worry. We'll be safe, right, Em?" he said, nudging her playfully. Emily grinned, and Daniel felt a wave of relief wash over him. They were supportive of each other, committed to their friendship, and that gave him confidence. "Of course. Plus, we need an epic playlist," Emily added, casting a glance back at her father. He saw a sparkle in her eyes, so full of excitement and hope. It was a far cry from the worries he'd seen before. He had to let go and trust her instincts, even if it challenged him. They chatted about destinations and dreams, and Daniel joined in, his heart lifting. He felt the warmth of their bond wrap around him, pulling him closer. It was more than just a road trip. It was a symbol of trust and growth. As the conversation flowed, Daniel felt a wave of contentment wash over him. How could he have doubted their connection? Sometimes love meant stepping back, allowing the winds of change to carry them forward. Finally, as the night deepened, he watched Emily and Jake. Their laughter filled the room, a soothing soundtrack to his thoughts. He reminded himself how special this time was for both of them. She wouldn't be his little girl forever. She was evolving into someone truly remarkable. "All right, you two," he said, breaking into their laughter. "Let's make some plans for that trip then." They both perked up, and Daniel could see the joy radiating between them. He felt rooted in the moment, grateful and present. As reality settled in, so did a sense of calm. The night grew quieter as the last few guests left. The remnants of the party transformed the once bustling space into a tapestry of memories. Daniel encouraged Emily and Jake to help him tidy up, further bonding in the softness of the evening. Soon the comforting quiet enveloped the house. The joyful chaos gave way to an intimate peace. Daniel felt it in the air, a tender lull that caressed their hearts. He tucked a stray hair behind Emily's ear, a habit from when she was younger. "Thank you for tonight," he said, managing a genuine smile. A sense of gratitude grew within him. She had navigated the evening with grace, and Daniel felt the weight of the world lighten. He was grateful to take this step back, to let his daughter spread her wings. Diamonds of laughter sparkled in the air as Emily shared a joke with Jake. Their connection was something extraordinary and beautiful. The love poured from their words, and Daniel's heart filled with warmth. He knew in this moment that everything would be okay. Feeling soothed, Daniel watched their friendship thrive. The challenges of parenthood often felt overwhelming, but tonight was a reminder of trust, growth, and love. He decided to embrace every new chapter that lay ahead, regardless of the unknowns. As the clock ticked softly in the background, Daniel could feel himself drifting toward relaxation. each gentle sound wrapped around him like a blanket. He knew that this was just one of many nights filled with laughter and dreams. "Ready for bed, Em?" he asked softly. She looked at him with a soft smile and nodded. Daniel watched as she hugged Jake. "Thanks for coming tonight," she said, genuine warmth in her words. They shared a few more light-hearted moments before Jake took his leave. As Jake walked to the door, Daniel felt a bittersweet ache. He was grateful, yet part of him resisted the reality that Emily was growing up. He needed to trust her instincts and embrace this change. Once Jake departed, Daniel found a moment to indulge in the quietness that settled around them. "Want to watch some cartoons or read before bed?" he asked, eager to share a final moment together. "Let's read. It's been a while," Emily replied, her voice filled with delight. Her eyes sparkled with anticipation. Daniel relished her enthusiasm and walked toward the bookshelf, finding their favorite story. They settled into the cozy seating area, the light dimmed to create a warm atmosphere. As he read, Daniel felt the soothing cadence of the words intertwining with the peace around them. His heart was full as he watched her eyes flutter, his purpose as a father bathing her in rest. The story unfolded, wrapping them in a world of imagination and adventure. They shared chuckles and smiles, the warmth between them radiating in the stillness. Eventually, the soothing rhythm of Daniel's voice lulled Emily into a state of relaxation. "I'm here, sweetheart," he whispered gently. The words hung in the air, a promise of support. He savored the moment, captured between the past and the present. Emily glanced at him, and in her gaze he saw reassurance. As she drifted, Daniel felt more at ease with their journey. He felt proud of the person she was becoming. He realized that although this was a new chapter, they could always write it together. Their bond remained unshakable, guiding each other through every ebb and flow. With soft breaths filling the room, he placed the book down. The tranquility of the night overtook them, wrapping around them like a big hug. He stood to tuck her in, leaning down to press a soft kiss on her forehead. "Good night, Em," he whispered softly. The world felt quiet, peaceful, almost dreamlike. As he stepped back, he caught one last glance at her sleeping form. How beautiful she looked, serene and joyful. Daniel quietly exited the room, taking a moment to reflect. The house was still, echoing with echoes of laughter. He felt grateful for the moments shared and the love that held them together. Tomorrow would bring new adventures, but for tonight they would rest. The weight of the day began to fade, and Daniel felt sleep pulling him gently. He allowed himself to surrender to the comfort of the night, knowing tomorrow he would embrace whatever life had in store. Thank you for joining tonight's journey as we explored a father's love and trust. Let the dreams of the evening wrap around you like a safe blanket. Each adventure lies ahead, waiting to be discovered together. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to the channel for more calming stories like this one. May the night cradle you gently, and may your dreams be sweet and serene. Good night, sleep well, and I'll see you in the next story.